Scott, you ready? It's got an echo here. You go with the echo? Yeah. Okay. Can't see you, so questions, please. Is it David out there?
Good afternoon, Mike.
Hey, David.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about, since the first one we've been through with you, what your approach is in minicamp? Do you like to, give guys stuff slowly and build on it, or throw a lot at them and see how they process it, and just what you want to accomplish coming out of this?
Well, I think the first thing, when you look at what's going on this weekend with the rookie orientation, it's not really in line with the traditional rookie mini camps where you'd have 55, 65 players. Whether it's the combination of your rookie class, the free agents, and you also would have probably 20 tryout players. So our particular roster for this weekend was 31. So you have to take a totally different approach. But as far as the volume of what the players were exposed to, we took a fundamental, basic approach. Frankly, we just operated in the first installation. So, the guys actually have really been very pleased with, particularly the defense. We just had a chance to watch the video from practice, and really didn't have hardly just minor mental adjustments. So they're off to a good start. In offense, definitely takes a little longer with the cadence and center exchange and things like that. So I really like the quality of work today. It definitely improved from yesterday, but overall they'll walk away tomorrow with a pretty clear understanding of what the first installation is on offense and defense, and really being integrated into the veterans program next week. The veterans will be on install 5, so we'll actually use tomorrow to help prep the rookie class to be ready for install 5, so it's not brand new to them when they get in there with the veterans Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday next week.
Micah said he was starting out at middle linebacker. You talk about that plan and how does that relate to Jalen and Leighton? I know Jalen played middle linebacker last year.
Well, I think the most important thing is you have to have a starting point, and you do that with each and every young player. So, Mike is definitely someone that's going to be part of our plan next year. So, starting at Mike, definitely makes the most sense. It's really has nothing to do with the other players. It's building the foundation of being able to play them from the middle of the defense, and that's really the focus. So, I think with the depth clearly that we have at the linebacker position, we'll continue to spend time, frankly, working on packages, and there'll be some projection of how we can best utilize the whole group.
Mike, in your past, you've had guys, you've integrated rookie linebackers like A.J. Hawk and Clay. How mindful are you with rookie linebackers of not overloading them too much? Or is Mike a guy that, even if you've been around just a little bit, that you think he can handle a bunch of different things?
I really think that's an individual situation based on the inside linebacker position. And also I think it's, A.J. Hawk, we drafted A.J. in 2006. And you compare to the defensive packages today. You have an opportunity to maybe play with more personnel groups. So, I think it's an individual situation. I think the most important thing is to get them grounded into the inside, both Mike and Will. Starting with the communication responsibility. We had both Jabril and Micah wear the helmets. They both have the experience of being the communicator. So, and that's something you really do with all your inside linebackers, because the more that you can do, and something we talk about a lot during the player acquisition process with Will McClay and the scouts and the coaches as we're evaluating players, is every player has to have 2 jobs, ideally. So it's the more you can do, and especially I think is very clear at the inside linebacker position.
Earlier, Jabril gave Micah credit for his interception and carrying the wide receiver over the middle of the field. From what you've seen so far, how does Jabril and Micah's skill sets complement one another?
Well, I think they're very complementary to one another. They both play with high instinct and awareness. You can see that, right away, even during the evaluation process. So I really like the look of those guys the last 2 days. There's definitely command and confidence. It's football is still football when you get out there. It's just doing it a certain way. The language is usually the biggest threshold to get over, and those guys are off to a really good start.
Mike, what's the advantage of the rookies having these days? So last year's rookies didn't have any of this stuff.
Oh, I think it's a big advantage. Clearly, I think anytime you have time to be with your players, it's an advantage, especially in today's climate. I mean, we all know what the norm used to be, so it's good to be able to spend 3 full days and really probably 4 days coming off of the physicals, and But I do want to give our coaching staff a tremendous amount of credit for the improvement that we've made in year 2 of virtual meetings. So you can see that the time that the players have spent since the draft, since signing with our football team, a lot of questions being asked, during the presentations, and I thought our rookies did a great job being on top for the most part of what was asked of them, coming in here this weekend. So I do really like the foundation that's been built with these rookies.
Mike, how has the staff changed its virtual presentations? Is it more, because again, this is a different medium than when you get them in a room necessarily, so is it more charts, graphics, or is it just tearing down the information? What are some of the improvements you've seen?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, teaching style and make sure you're using all your resources that are available to you. So, I mean, it's, I think like everybody probably in the league, and frankly, society, is you've had to learn and grow your virtual environment, and we definitely have done that as a coaching staff. We spent a lot of time on it. Frankly, we're still in a virtual format this weekend, so we've had to meet with the players virtually. So they're at the hotel while we meet, and then the only time we're able to be around them in person has been in practice. So, and I think it's like a lot of things in this business. The more you do it, the better you get, and we're clearly much better at the virtual teaching this year than we were last year.
George Edwards is working very closely with the linebacker. George Edwards is working very closely with the linebackers. Has his role on the coaching staff evolved some since the time he got here?
Well, I think it's really the same. I mean, George and Scott have both always handled the linebackers, but there's some role responsibility for Scott McCarthy. That's as far as how we're doing some things once we get to the regular season. So I don't look at it as a big change. It's just more of a shift because at the end of the day you have to make sure you want to spread your responsibilities around. So. But George has always been very involved with the linebackers.
Mike, you're not using all of your OTA days. Can you just go into the decision as to why? Is any of it partly related to going to camp earlier with the Hall of Fame game?
Well, we'll see how that works out. I mean, we have 9 scheduled right now, so. There's a little bit of projection in the last week, but definitely, I mean, that's part of the thinking. You also, you have a coaching staff that, it's going to be a longer season for the coaching staff and the players. So I mean, just very cognizant of all those things. But when I look at it, frankly, I hope it stays the same. But if we're able to stay on the schedule that we have laid out. I'll feel very, very good about our offseason program, the completion of it.
Coach, how do you evaluate the Isaac Alarcon's development during this year?
I'm sorry?
How do you evaluate the Isaac Alarcon's development during these years that he has been with the Cowboys?
Yeah, he's definitely improving. We actually today Isaac took snaps at both the tackle and the guard position, and frankly, I like the way he looked when he stepped inside. So Isaac's here every day. I mean, I don't think there's been a workout or time going down into the weight room. Or definitely in the cafeteria where I haven't seen him. I mean, he's very. Just kidding. But he's very diligent, and just love his attitude. And but yeah, he's definitely has made a lot of improvements since last year.
In what area did you think?
Mike, have you had a chance to tour Oxnard yet? Have you had a chance to tour Oxnard yet, or if not, do you plan to go out there soon with the possibility of returning there?
I have not had a chance to plan. I have not had a chance to tour Oxnard, but I do have a plan to eventually get out there. Just really waiting for it to be official. I'm planning to go to Oxnard as far as my training camp schedule. But we're just really trying to waiting for it to be finalized. So I do anticipate taking a trip out there before the conclusion of the off season.
Coach, in what area do you think Isaac needs to improve the most in order to try to compete for a spot in the roster?
Frankly, I think like a lot of things in this game, when you play the tackle position, pass protection's at a premium. So, he's definitely has a much better feel in the run blocking component of it. So I would just say that he just needs to continue to improve in his pass blocking.
Thank you.
Based on your experience of evaluating rookies at rookie minicamp, how much can you tell about whether or not a guy can make it at this level? Given there are no pads and it's very instructional. How much of a feel can you get on a rookie during this weekend?
Frankly, I think it really you could probably cut it up by position. I think clearly that the linemen, based on what they're asked to do, you don't without the pads and particularly the combination work, the combo drills, and even into the teamwork. So there's definitely always an unknown there. The perimeter guys, you obviously get more work done because you're able to operate in space and train in a safer environment that way. So, but yeah, definitely. I mean, the most important thing is you have a chance to bring them in. Frankly, show them exactly what each environment is as far as the classroom. I can't go in the classroom, but the virtual environment, the training room, the practice environment. Just really, so when next week comes, that they have a good understanding of what the operation is here. So, I mean, that's the first part. And, the second part is that you love the way this draft class looks. Our focus since I've been here was we want to be longer, and we definitely have hit the mark there with this class. And so, and then you get into the drill work, so you get to see them move and so forth. So there's definitely some to gain. But frankly, it's building that foundation and focusing on the things that are most difficult. And one of the things we made a big emphasis of this weekend is the pre-snap, because there's so much that goes on in the pre-snap that these guys don't really experience, or particularly at that level in college. So and that's why the communication, the meetings, and we've been doing a lot of walkthroughs this weekend just to make sure these guys are get a sense of what it's going to be like once we get out there on Tuesday.
You obviously have to have quarterbacks to run a practice, but why specifically did you guys? Why were those quarterbacks JT Barrett and Brady Davis for you guys?
Well, I mean, it's just part of the evaluation. I mean, JT was in there last week, had an excellent workout, and I've had a chance to watch him through college, and in his time, he's down there in New Orleans, and Brady, has a neat story, and I thought he clearly took a jump from yesterday's work to in today's work. So, I mean, it didn't help. We were outside in the wind and all that with those guys throwing there at the last period, but it gives you a chance to look at two young prospects.
Do you have any concerns off of these last 2 days with the other building being complete, with how windy it's been, if that's going to carry over during your practices during the season, and how that might impact your practices?
No, not at all. Wind is part of the game.
Thanks,
We
guys.
told Mike, as you guys move to on-field stuff here this week or soon, what do you anticipate Dak being able to do for you guys?
I think he'll do most things. I mean, there's a plan in place that's coordinated with Britt and Jim in the training room, and so. But I know he feels really good. He's really has had some excellent workouts here the last couple of weeks. So, but I see him doing most of the work. Good.
Do you anticipate he'll be completely cleared for the start of training camp?
Yeah, I have no reason not to think that, and I think this week in phase 2 will be a nice step in that direction. Thank you, appreciate it.